Everybody ready? Can you hear me? Voice carries pretty far in here. You guys are in like the spit area, so I apologize in advance. But welcome everybody. This is Inflammation Unveiled. So this is one of those, number one, I am not Dr. Megan Kennedy, as you can see. She's got way cooler hair than I do. And so I found out 36 hours ago that I was hopping in to help Katty with this workshop. And so bear with me. I'm probably gonna go a little rogue off of whatever you see here, but do not fret because this is my wheelhouse. Inflammation is something that I have been studying, both like book study and body study for probably the last year and a half now. If you saw my Instagram story today, I just recently turned 42. My mindset is 25 and my maturity is 15. So with that wicked combo, I get after it. I work hard. You guys have seen that. My whole team works freaking hard. We all work hard, but my work hard is like here all day. It's a lot of trauma on my spine, whereas your work hard might be like here all day, which is also a lot of trauma on your spine, which we're going to talk about later. So I work hard, I play really hard, whether it's all of my adventures or whatever it might be, and then I want to do it all again. And so my thing is, I want what's up here to be able to, no, I want here, the 42-year-old, to be able to do what the 25-year-old wants to do. So I have gone deep with inflammation to figure out, okay, how can I utilize this to the best of my ability, but also how can I keep it at bay so it doesn't become chronic? And so we are going to go over a lot of different things as far as what you can do, what you shouldn't do, and then also, well, this is kind of group participation. We got a nice big crowd here today. And so I want you guys, when I ask questions, by the way, I want you to answer the questions. A lot of you have never been to a workshop with me because it's been a minute since I've done the workshops. I have actually taken over the corporate side of workshops at Freedom Chiropractic. Katty and Dr. Megan have taken over the in-house workshops. But anytime I ask a question, I require an answer. And I want group participation. Stop and ask questions. I want this to be yours tonight because this is a hot topic. It's something that is also very, very confusing. Because think about this. Raise your hand if you've ever Googled any sort of health anything, and you literally got every single answer known to man. You're like, is this good? Yes. Is this bad? Yes. Is this whatever? Should I do this? No. Should I do this? Yes. So, raise your hand if you think inflammation is bad. You are correct. Raise your hand if you think inflammation is good. You are correct. So I just Googled you right there. So what we're going to do is differentiate the good, the bad, and the ugly. Sound good? First of all, you have to understand, what is inflammation? Inflammation is actually an amazing innate response of the immune system. That's something that a lot of people don't realize. It's your immune system that gives off an inflammatory response. Even if it's like inflammation in the big toe, it's still your immune system giving that off. So is inflammation necessary? Absolutely. If you had no inflammation, we need to be having a different discussion, because that means your immune system is completely shot. You will not heal from your common cold, sickness, illness, disease, or even a common cut. And when you get a little cut, you don't have to think about it, right? You don't have to say, oh my gosh, cut, please will you heal? Your immune system knows what to do at all times, but what it's going to do is elicit this amazing orchestrated inflammatory response so that it starts the healing process. When this happens, you have things like cytokines, you have white blood cells, you have killer T cells, you have all of these things that are put out into your body to speed up or start the healing process. Not only are they there to do the healing process, they are there to get the foreign invaders away from there. And so acute situations, acute inflammation happens because of trauma, happens because of infection, happens because of bacteria, viruses, pathogens, foreign stressors, foreign invaders. This immune response, this inflammatory response comes out, and it is just there to tackle all the bad stuff. It is there to wipe it out, kill it, and then get rid of it. So inflammation is also there to remove debris that dies because of whatever the trauma or illness is. Here's another thing that most people don't realize though. Inflammation is actually there to heal the tissue. So when people are like, oh my gosh, I have this inflammatory response, should I take naproxen? I'm like, no, let the body do the healing. If it's an acute situation, stop trying to mask it. And that brings me to this. When you get the medical diagnosis of inflammation, whether it's acute or chronic, what do they usually want to do with an inflammatory response? Meds. Specifically, NSAIDs, naproxen, ibuprofen. But is it just like your little baby over the counter? No. Military. Who's all in the military? How many of you have heard of vitamin M? Motrin 800. Like, what? That I remember. I will never forget. This was years ago. This was probably a decade ago. This guy came in the military. He just kept saying vitamin M, vitamin M. I'm like, what the hell is vitamin M? He's like, oh, it's Motrin 800. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. That's actually kind of funny. But they'll give Motrin 800. They'll give ibuprofen 800. They'll give Tylenol 1 million. They will give all these things to reduce the inflammatory response, which if it's an acute situation, you need the inflammation. But that's different than a chronic situation. Acute is necessary and it is good. It will heal you over time. It will go away because your body is smart. It knows, I'm good. I don't need to keep this dumpster fire raging right now, so let's chill out. When it's chronic inflammation, it just keeps going. But the thing about chronic inflammation, it actually happens because of no foreign invader whatsoever. No pathogen, no trauma. There is a small portion of the population that has chronic inflammation due to more genetic disposition. So you look at things like rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, irritable bowel disease. Am I missing any right now things like that, right? These Hashimoto's, these are things that your body is responding to. It's kind of like going to war against itself. But again, that's a smaller population. The majority of people, the majority of Americans that are dealing with chronic inflammatory problems, it actually comes from, does anybody know? Lifestyle. Lifestyle. That's the biggest difference. And so if you go in and you say, I am inflamed, and then they do all the tests and they say, yes, you are. You have these inflammatory markers going off the charts, but you didn't have an acute situation. Now you are literally just taking medications to try to do something other than what your lifestyle is doing. You're trying to mask your lifestyle decisions with a medication. Let that set in for a second. Does that sound healthy? Instead, why don't we look at the lifestyle decisions? That's what tonight's all about. Katty and I are going to go over not only what are the most common causes of inflammation in your body, we're also going to go over what can you do to take control. Because there's a lot that you can do, like a lot. So you are going to take notes. You are going to take a lot of notes. If you need another piece of paper, you flag down Dr. Will and Addie and Katty and me, and you say, I need more paper because I'm taking so many notes. And you're going to take so many notes, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. And that's a good thing, because then you're going to go home and either tonight or tomorrow morning, you're going to read over your notes and you're going to pick one or two things that you're going to implement and change. That's it. One or two things. Some of you, you've been to workshops before. How many of you have been to a bunch of workshops, right? So you've already done the implementation, but some of you, you're going to take a note and be like, oh, I took that note like 47 times. Still haven't implemented. You're going to implement that. Or if you've fallen off track, you're going to get back on track. That's what tonight is all about. Now you also have that little questionnaire right there. This is not a test. You're not going to get graded on this. You don't even have to hand it in if you don't want to. But it's just a few things that we want you to keep your eye on as far as what you're learning tonight. But then on the bottom, there's just a quick little questionnaire that we as a team, we want to get your feedback. I know I'm deviating here really quick. We want to get your feedback because to us, this type of thing is very, very important. I mean, look at this. We got a lot of people here. We have like 70 people here right now. And we want this bigger and bigger and bigger because this is the type of stuff that you guys are looking for, asking for, and you're Googling and you're getting yes and no's all over the place, right? So we want to simplify health, and that's what the workshops are about. So if you feel comfortable, and you don't have to write your name on it either, if you feel comfortable answering some of those questions on the questionnaire, we would love your feedback because we want to make these things for you guys. What do you want? What do you need? What are you confused about? And then we will take it from there and do our best to give you everything. Capiche? Capiche. So now, as we move forward, I want to talk about something like this. A sprained ankle is an acute situation. How many of you have had the embarrassing moment where you like step off a curb wrong? No. Right? We've all been there. So stupid. It's not even a cool story. Like, bro, I was mountain biking and I like caught it in a boulder and I did all. No, I literally stepped off the curb. But when you step off that curb, your brain immediately says trauma. I'm going to send a stress response. I'm going to kick the immune system into gear, and it's going to come down here and it's going to create inflammation, it's going to create swelling, and it's going to create pain so that you stop using it, so that you can take time to let it heal. So inflammation, we've already said, that's your body's way of going in and clearing out the bad debris, healing the tissue. And so if you want to do something about it in an acute situation, yes, I'm a big fan of ice because you're not just completely taking away that pathway. I think that's the biggest thing. You're reducing some of the inflammation, you're helping out with the pain, but you're not completely stopping the process. And then after that, bring in some moist heat because that's going to increase blood flow, that's going to get you healing. I use the ankle as an example because this is something we're going to talk about later when it comes to the rest of our body, okay? So again, acute situation, but now if you were to just every day roll off the curb, roll off the curb, is it going to turn into a chronic situation? Absolutely. And you're going to get more and more injured. So it's a matter of what are you doing in your life that's like rolling off the curb to your ankle, except like eating crap every day, never moving. Toxicity. What are the big stressors in your life? We know of 5. Number 1 is sad. It's really sad. Katty's going to come up and talk about this right now. That is the standard American diet. It is an inflammatory eating. It's not a diet. It's just sad, whatever it is. So we're going to talk about how to break that. We talk about lack of exercise. So this is kind of funny because exercise induces inflammation. A lack of exercise induces chronic inflammation. When you're exercising, you're going to have a small stress response. You're going to have a small inflammatory response because you're breaking down muscle to build it back up the right way. You're coming in and you're burning fat. You are building this temple right here, and so you have this inflammatory response. But when you do nothing, it turns into chronic inflammation. Anybody ever had one of those weekends where you're like, you know what? I'm not gonna do anything. I'm gonna chill on the couch. I'm gonna read books. I'm gonna watch videos or shows. I'm gonna watch Netflix. I'm gonna be on TikTok all weekend. And you do it, and you feel great. You feel re-energized. You're like, oh, I needed that. And then you go to get up on Monday morning, and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even do anything. That's the problem. The human body is made to move. It wants that motion. It wants that lubrication. You gotta do something. We look at an unhealthy mindset actually creates chronic inflammation, anxiety, and depression within the body. Your nervous system being stuck, which I'll talk about later, and then toxic exposure. All of this lead to these types of things. It's not just, oh, my joint hurts, or hey, I have arthritis. It's things like this. Pain all the time. And you can only be in pain so long until you then have fatigue all the time because your body is getting worn out. You're taking all of the resources away. You're draining the battery. Insomnia, weight gain, anxiety and depression, GI issues. But now let's take this to a whole nother level. Chronic inflammation has been proven to be a common denominator in things like cardiovascular disease, GI issues, which we talked about, IBD, that kind of stuff. We look at Alzheimer's, Chronic inflammation is a very common denominator with that. Many cancers. And so when you're looking at all of these major sicknesses, diseases, and illnesses, chronic inflammation is a major factor. So now we're going to look at what can we do to buck the trend. It's called the 5 essentials for a reason. These are not 5 things I think you should think about, not 5 good ideas. They're the 5 essentials to leading a healthy lifestyle. So I would like to introduce my partner in crime today, Katty Wood, and she's going to start to dive into some of these essentials and things you should and should not do. So everybody give her a round of applause.
Yay! Okay, so we've all heard of the 5 essentials, right? Yes. All right, so before we dive into all of this, we're going to talk a little bit more in depth on the no-nos, right? So I was going to ask you, can everybody hear me? No, okay. Can you hear me now? Better? Okay. So I was going to ask you who knows what SAD stands for. Blow it. Okay, let's say it together. Standard American Diet. Okay, so these are the Standard American Diet. Is pretty eye-opening when you think about, compared to even 20 years ago, the amount of calories that the average American consumes. It's like 300 more calories per day than they did in like 1985, okay? And by the way, as I'm talking, I realize I'm lowering my voice, so just be like, hey, speak up again, okay? I tend to do that, I'll talk softly, so remind me if I'm getting low. So 1985 compared to now, we eat about 300 more calories a day, and we're doing less work. So think about, 100 years ago, people were out there farming, we were living off the land, we were working hard with our bodies. Our bodies were meant to move, right? And so we are consuming food, and then we're using that food and using our bodies. Today, with technology, with all of the things, the sedentary lifestyle that we have more than 100 years ago, we're not quite using all that food the way we used to. And so we are consuming much more and just kind of hanging out, right? So 40% of the average American diet right now is just empty calories. It's fats, it's added sugars. We're just kind of taking that in and hanging out, right? We're not necessarily using that. We're not using our bodies the way that we used to. So those calories are kind of just hanging out in our bodies. Plus you think about soil depletion. Okay, we're eating all those empty calories and we're not getting what we need out of the food that we're eating, right? So 71% of Americans are overweight or obese, okay, because of the way that we're eating, the increase of calories that we're taking, those empty calories, and the less movement that we have, okay? So, standard American diet, not so great. Plus, we want the fast food option, right? I mean, how many of us are driving home from work and we're like, man, that Burger King smells good, that whatever smells good, and I don't want to go home and make dinner, and I had a whole meal plan and everything was wonderful and I was excited to go home, and then you're tired at the end of the day, and then you go home and you're like, oh, In-N-Out is right there, we want that fast food option, and so we're taking in so many calories that are doing nothing for us, okay? So, the next one, that is, yeah, right, so you guys have on your sheet, take a wild guess, how many names does sugar have?
50.
50? Shout it out.
55.
55. 61.
Oh,
56. Okay? So, how many of you would say, before you look at this list, I don't eat a lot of sugar? Right? I mean, seriously, raise your hand. How many of you, I'm going to call us all out here, how many of you go, I really don't eat that much sugar? Right? A lot of us do, because we know, we've heard it, especially over the last 20 years. White sugar, white flour, we don't do those things. We pull them out. Not all of us, but a good chunk. We kind of hear that here and there. We go, oh, so let's define sugar. Cookies, candy, sweets.
Butterfingers.
Butterfingers, right, cereal. Okay, but if you were to pull out your ketchup, you're gonna probably find one of these here. They've gotten real good at making the names kind of tricksy. And so you don't even, Florida Crystals, what's that? I mean, how many of you can recognize these and go, oh, I've totally seen that on a label? How many of you read your labels? Read your labels, because they're hiding sugars in here, okay? So the thing with sugar, now, I'm not gonna tell you to never eat sugar. Sorry, Dr. Jason. Every once in a while.
80-20.
Yes, 80-20, okay? For morale's sake, sometimes we gotta have sweets, right? I mean, who doesn't have a chocolate stash somewhere in their house? Right? I'm not saying we don't ever eat sugar. That's not my point. But the point is that sugar is a massive contributor to that chronic inflammation in our bodies, especially when we don't know that it's there. You might go, well, I don't eat cookies, I don't eat candy, I don't even eat cereal, I don't do that stuff. But then you put ketchup on your French fries, and you have this and you have that, and you're not realizing that all of this is going into your body and it's acting like sugar. Now, there are different kind of types of sugars. They metabolize differently in your body, and I'm not going to break all of that down, but fructose, we've all kind of heard, right? Fructose is one of those sugars that enters the body and kind of just bypasses everything and goes right into your bloodstream. And so there are certain sugars where, like glucose, your body regulates much more intensely. And so kind of having a little bit of awareness of that can be really helpful. High fructose, how many of us high fructose corn syrup is a no, right? Some of these we know and we're like, oh. So we want to pay attention, read your labels, pay attention to what is in the food that you're buying. Now let's talk a little bit about healthy sugars for a second. Oh look, I'm totally on my wrong notes. The average American, how many pounds of sugar do you think the average American consumes?
In how long? A year?
Of sugar in a year, sorry.
In a year.
Yeah, in a year. Random guess.
100 pounds.
100 pounds, what? So we eat 57 pounds of sugar. Think about that. That's crazy, right? 57 pounds of sugar in a year. So let's talk about those healthy sugars. So coconut sugar, someone might call healthy sugar. Honey, I love to have honey. When I learned a lot of this stuff, I kind of switched to honey. So the thing with these sugars as well is just being aware that they might be much healthier options, but a lot of them are still going straight into that bloodstream, like fructose. Like coconut sugar is like, 70 to 80%. Half of it's about fructose, so half of it's going straight in there. So yes, it might be a healthier option, but you still have to remember and think about how it's metabolized into your body. Honey's a great option, but half of it is also fructose. And so, 40% is gonna go in that way. Raw honey, on the other hand, is gonna be much lower in that fructose going into your body. And it is probably one of the most healthiest options that you have. So if you have to sweeten your coffee, I use honey because I like honey. Plus it has a ton of other health benefits as well. All right, let's talk about artificial sweeteners. Okay, I'm just gonna read some of these. Neotame, Equal, NutraSweet, let's see, New Pink, Amino Sweet. Have you guys heard any of these? Again, they try and shift the names so that it kind of throws everybody off. Like, oh, I've never heard about that before. Oh, it's a cool sweetener with 0 calories. So 0 calories are not getting in your body. Well, it must be better for me. So I just wanted to highlight one of these. Most of those names I just read, I just named like a couple of them, are actually different names for aspartame. How many of you know what aspartame is? Most of us, right? So they like replaced sugar and they put aspartame in gum and things like that. So aspartame is super tricky because it actually can get into your body. They're actually calling it a neurotoxin. It can cross that blood-brain barrier, get into your brain, and can kind of mess up your brain's ability to communicate. that's kind of scary, right? I actually just read yesterday, I was just talking about how the molecules in aspartame can meld with different molecules, and they do all these things, and then once you get it into your body, it actually turns into formaldehyde, and that gets into the brain, right? She's just laughing. She's like, awesome, that's cool. Good to know. So, don't ever have aspartame, right? Check your labels, okay? But let's talk about, maybe we talked about honey. Monk fruit is potentially a good one. It's got 0 calories. It's not going to play with your blood sugar levels. There are a couple other different artificial sweeteners. Everyone has a little bit of different opinions on some of these things, and so just research. Just do your research and listen to your body. I mean, we're talking about inflammation, and inflammation being a key way that the body communicates. And so if you start to feel funny when you eat something, your tummy gets a little bloated, something feels off, pay attention. It's your body going, hey, I don't like this, okay? So let's move on. Lifestyle stressors. So around 2020, there was this phrase that sedentary lifestyle is the new smoking. Has anybody heard that? Like how dangerous that sedentary lifestyle can be. And they're actually saying it's actually the new smoking because it's just as dangerous in one sense. So physical inactivity can increase, we talked about this a second ago, but that visceral fat that can grow in your body can kind of come around your organs, that can grow around your waistline. We all talk about overweight, we think waistlines, we think what everybody else thinks, but maybe we're not totally paying attention to what could be happening around our organs. If it's that fat that's growing inside of our body, kind of putting pressure and causing that chronic inflammation that we might not be fully aware of. So not moving is actually a huge contributor to that chronic inflammation. Those kinds of things can lead to, just fatigue, diabetes, reduced circulation, brain fog, things like that, okay? So moving on, let's talk about mindset stressors. Hint, hint, it's on your sheet. 3 mindset stressors: social media, news, negatively influencing friends. So I want to talk about mindset a little bit in the sense of the way that you kind of posture yourself when you wake up in the morning. Sorry, am I still getting low? Talk a little bit louder. You can wake up in the morning and go, I'm gonna conquer this day. Like, I'm gonna do this day really well, right? I'm gonna eat healthy, I'm gonna take care of my body, I'm gonna treat people well, or you can wake up on the wrong side of the bed and be like, I suck and my whole life is worthless, and blah, 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 blah. Like your day is not gonna go well when you wake up like that, right? So let's talk about that in social settings. Let's talk about that in your perception of the way that you do life. When you go on social media, are you going on there? Are you comparing yourself to the friends that you see and the things that they're doing and the beautiful successes that they have, and you're not? And then you get off social media and you're just like, you started your day great and happy, and then you end frustrated. Though all of those things are contributing. Negative mindsets creates toxic belief systems, which actually creates toxicity in the body, which creates chronic inflammation. The way that we think affects everything. Okay, so news. Are you consumed with the news? Are you living in fear when you watch the news? Or you're just like, oh my gosh, like there are seasons in life where I just can't watch the news. You're a new mom, you got a baby, and you're just filled with fear anyways. Everything's new and life is shifting, or you have a new job and you hear all the things that are happening over there and you get stressed out. Like there are times where you just turn the TV off, just read the headlines, or don't read them at all, or take a break. Know your body, listen to your body. Are you feeling fear? Are you feeling afraid? Are you feeling nervous? Are you feeling frustrated, angry? What are the emotions that your body is talking to you about? And I'm not saying being fully led by your emotions, but I'm saying listen to your body, listen to what's happening, and pay attention and make those shifts in your lifestyle to serve your body, to get rid of that chronic inflammation. Stress creates sickness in our body. It raises our cortisol levels. It makes us constantly, we always hear fight or flight, right? We don't want to do that. We want to be able to find that place of rest or peace. Negatively influencing friends. There's a quote that says you are the sum of the 5 friends that you hang out with. You know, if you're hanging out with people that are constantly negative, speaking just junk about each other, about other people, about you, just stop. That creates frustration in your body, and your body will respond with chronic inflammation and sickness, okay? You know, even things like, I always have to be the person to like do this, or there's this like savior complex, or I have to be the one that makes sure that everything is done perfectly, or you know, there's all kinds of mindsets that we can take on, or I'm the victim and somebody else always has to take care of me because I'm struggling. There's all kinds of mindsets that come in and out of our world. So I just want to encourage you guys, be aware. And now that I say that, we're going to hit a slide in a little bit where I'm going to actually have you guys write down some action steps to shift some things. So I want you guys to be thinking that way as we keep talking, okay? Okay, real quick, toxic exposure is a stressor? Yes. If you were around, I think it was March, Dr. Megan and I did a detox workshop. If you did not catch that, go back and watch it on YouTube. We go in depth in these things and we offer solutions, but if you weren't, I'll just go quickly through them. Laundry, bathroom, bedroom, kitchen, living room. Guys, our homes are filled with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of toxic chemicals that do all kinds of things to our bodies. And so again, I'll say this, read your labels. Cosmetics, cleaning supplies, air fresheners. Did you guys know that that air fresheners, the chemicals in air fresheners, if you die and someone digs up your body in 200 years, those chemicals will still be in your bones. That's gross, right? So pay attention. So all of these things are contributing to that chronic inflammation, okay? And we will go back to Dr. Jason and talk about this one. But first, raise your hands. How many of you know what subluxation is? Okay, write it on your questionnaire. And then he's going to tell you too.
Thank you. All right, so really quick, before I dive into subluxation, nervous system, do you want to hear a little story? This is a fun one. I had tried to hire Katty like 3 times in the course of a year and a half, 2 years. And it wasn't that she was just like flat out saying no, but she was like, it's just not the right time in my life. It's just, there was always something that didn't jive. And then of course, the day before I left for Kilimanjaro, I called her, we were talking on the phone. I'm like, you're hired. You start next week. And I'm gone for 3 weeks. So let's go. And less than a year later, she's literally up here giving workshops to you guys. Like, I cannot be more proud of this lady right now. So give her a huge round of applause. She's rocking. And so she's our 5 Essentials CA. So if you guys do have questions on any of this, or really anything at all, as far as lifestyle, cosmetics, and cleaning supplies, like she's got a huge product, or a great line for that as well. So reach out to her. It's just Katty, Katty, at freedomcairo.com. She is your go-to when it comes to a lot of these lifestyle things. So now we're going to dive a little bit deeper, and we are going to look at the one system that controls everything in your body, and that is the nervous system. But before I even talk spine, I want to go back to that ankle situation, right? So we're going to get nerdy and anatomical. You ready? You ready to put your doctor nerd cap on? So let's take that ankle. When you roll that ankle, this bone, you ready? This bone right here, y'all see it? It's called your talus. So that's kind of like your keystone bone in your ankle. For most people, when you roll an ankle, you're almost always going to go that way. It's called an inversion. And when you do this, if this is the talus, that talus moves and it misaligns. It subluxates. So subluxation is just a misalignment of a joint or a bone. It doesn't even need to be just the spine. If you have a joint, it can subluxate. If you have a joint, it can misalign. if you have a joint, it can get stuck. That's the word we're really latching on to these days because it just makes sense. I already told you sedentary is bad because your body is made to move. So if a joint is always stuck in an immobile position, your brain, your nervous system, like I said before, is very smart, and it's going to say, oh no, this is bad. Send in an orchestrated attack of inflammation to protect the joint so it can heal. Around that joint, so every joint has bones, it has ligaments, it has tendons, it has muscles, and so around this talus, you have all these ligaments and tendons. And so if you subluxate or misalign that because you rolled off the curb, now if here's all the ligaments, guess what I'm doing to those ligaments if I misalign that joint right there? You're stretching it. And if you're stretching it, is your nervous system going to be happy about it? No. So it's going to tell you, swell up, build an ankle brace. Do not let him or her walk on that. Let that heal. The problem is, the longer it's stretched and immobile, do you think it heals fast or slow? Slow. Right? So a lot of you, I've adjusted your ankles before. You've rolled them before. I had a patient on Monday come in. She was hiking, rolled her ankle, subluxated that, misaligned it, and I said, can I adjust that? Because what we found is when we put that back into place, that bone, that joint, it's going to take force and pressure off of the tendons and ligaments, and it's going to speed up the recovery and the healing process. It's not going to cure you. It's not going to just be like, poof, you're good. It's going to speed up the healing process. So we adjusted her, or I adjusted her. I think she came in on Wednesday. No, that can't be. It was last week. I don't even know what day it is right now, you guys. So she came in, it was last Monday, then she came in Wednesday, and I said, how's it doing? She's like, great. I'm doing so much better. Can I do the incline tomorrow? I'm like, hold on. Jeez, give it a second. No, you can't. But she could walk on it. She was able to have more mobility, and it sped up the recovery. Does that make sense right there? So now, think of a different joint in your body. Your spine is made up of a bunch of very specific and integral joints. You guys are mean to this spine, right? And so you do things on a daily, weekly, yearly basis that misalign the joint. Your brain knows that this is not normal. Your brain says, oh no, this is stress. I'm going to create an inflammatory response. So now all of a sudden you have this pain, maybe some tenderness, a little bit of tension, and then you're an American, so what do you do about it? Nothing. You ignore it. You're like, it's not that bad. It'll go away on its own. Everybody lives with something, so that must be what I have to live with. Or, you know what? I still have some naproxen from 1984 that they gave me because they gave me like 500 pills. Why don't I take that? Let's mask the inflammation. But with all of this, you're starting to now put stress on the ligaments, on the tendons, on the muscles. And the longer something like this goes undetected and uncorrected, the worse it gets. You guys, for most of you, you are patients here. This right here is the exact reason that I am preaching nonstop, don't miss your maintenance adjustments. Because sometimes pain is usually the last thing to show up and the first thing to go away. I am not a pain-based doctor. I am a function-based doctor. And if pain doesn't even show up until you're functioning at less than 60%, you have a long way to fall. So when you come in, you're like, I'm doing great. I feel awesome. I don't even know why I'm here today. And then all of a sudden you get on the table and Dr. William and I are like, seek and destroy. We are going to find anything that might not be great, and we want to fix it now so it doesn't become a problem. That's how I want you to look at your maintenance adjustments. It's being proactive, because you guys are doing things every single day that is misaligning the spine. But now you think about what I said before in a chronic situation. If you keep rolling your ankle off the curb, it's going to get worse and worse and worse. So now let's say you go back to this subluxation, this misalignment, and you sit all day. And then the next day you sit all day. And you sit all day. Or you're picking up your kids, or you're, whatever it might be, you're causing this repetitive wear and tear on a joint that's already very susceptible. And so if you do nothing about it, it will continue to get worse with an inflammatory response caused by the central nervous system. You guys, this is why we want you to really listen to your body, and we want you to be proactive, but we want you to communicate with us. I'm not saying communicate like, ow, it hurts here and it hurts here. Like, I get it, but sometimes the hurts here isn't coming from there. Sometimes the hurts here is because this is not moving, or this is inflamed. So it's up to us to kind of know where to look and then focus on that. And so what we're doing, as many of you know, I don't know where I put the clicker. As many of you know, next week we're having our 20-year anniversary party. No, I have not been there all 20 years, so don't try to like do that whole thing. I already told you I'm 42, so I'm not like some Doogie Howser whiz kid. But 20 years, Freedom Chiropractic has been around. I've been there since 2009. I've owned it since 2019. We're having a bash next week. And so if you have not signed up yet for all of our patients, Wednesday, free adjustments, building 3 coffee and gluten-free muffins. We have Mauna shave ice. I don't know how to say it, but they have great shave ice, and that's all that matters. They're coming in the afternoon. We're having supplement sales. We're doing giveaways every 20 minutes. Your name goes into a drawing for, I can't remember what. There's just all sorts of things. But we're also doing something where if you have a person that you know needs to take care of this, they have this inflammatory response that is just unrelenting, or they're just very, very active and you know they're creating trauma, get them in. Let them know. Normally in our office for a full exam, consultation, and x-rays, and then going over those x-rays, it's $79, but for the month of August, it's $20. Normally in our office for your first adjustment, it's $55. For the month of August, it's $20. You catching on here? There's a 20 theme going on in August if you haven't figured it out. And so $40 for all of that, it's usually $134. If there are any guests here right now, you have the opportunity. We want to give you guys perks for actually coming to workshops. So that's why you get supplement discounts. That's why we give you other things during each one. We do raffles. But the perk is you get first dibs on coming in for a full examination. If somebody is not here with you right now, but you're like, man, they need this, you're going to talk to Dr. William and Katty at the end, and you're going to get them scheduled as well. Take advantage and actually do something from the inside, because then everything else that you do, like quality food, anti-inflammatory, everything, you're going to get the most out of. So does that make sense as far as the ankle and the spine connection right there? If it's a joint, it's really made up the same no matter where it's at in your body. So it's amazing how much more effort a lot of people put into healing an ankle than they do healing the spine. And yet your spine houses your central nervous system. I don't really know what your ankle houses. I don't think it houses anything, it's just an ankle. But your spine houses your central nervous system. It is the one system that allows that immune system to function properly. Your cardiovascular system, your respiratory, your sleep, your wake. If you start to interfere with that nervous system, you go into a state of chronic fight or flight. That is when pain goes off the charts, inflammation goes off the charts. Your sleep starts to reduce, fatigue, insomnia, you name it, it can happen. You just have to look deeper and then figure out, what can I do to take control? Once you've done that, now you can start to look into some of the outside-in approaches. And so as far as anti-inflammatory foods go, I'm just gonna throw a couple of my favorites at you, and you can say ew, or you can say yeah, let's go. And so first of all, healthy fats. So Katty was saying 40% of empty calories are coming from things like sugars, and she did say fats, but we're gonna put a disclaimer on there. Those are the bad fats, hydrogenated fats. These are healthy whole food fats. So avocados, love them. They are so good. They are good for so many systems in your body. They satiate you, they give you fuel. It is an amazing fat. Nuts and seeds. I have nuts and seeds like everywhere in my life. I have them at home, I have them at work, I have them at my car, I have them up in the mountains. They are literally everywhere. Today before I came here, I'm like, oh, I'm hungry, but I don't want to eat too much because I don't want to like crash and burn. And so I had half avocado, I had some pistachios, and I had some macadamia nuts. And it's just a nice little boom in the right direction. I will say Costco I love pistachios and being at home and like, it just, I don't know, I feel like until you get that one that like breaks your nail off, you're like, oh, pistachio strikes again. But Costco has them already shelled, which I love because when I am at work, no offense to you guys, but come on, it was 95 degrees out today. You guys are coming in pretty nasty, a little sweaty. And so I got my hands all up on you. And so I don't want to like take a pistachio and crack it open and put it in my mouth. So they have them shelled. That's just side note, but they are great. So healthy fats, wild caught fish. I like to try to eat wild caught fish anywhere from 3 to 5 times a week. I think, long story short, think Mediterranean diet. I think if you can just think Mediterranean diet, you're gonna be doing way better than like 90% of most Americans, okay? So next, we have berries, avocados again. I put them on there twice because I love them. Kale or leafy greens, carrots, berries again. I guess I love those. I actually do love blueberries. Blueberries are so yummy and they are phenomenal antioxidants. I will say right now, Whole Foods, natural grocers, everybody's produce is on point right now. They're so fresh, so beautiful. Like I walked into natural grocers, I was just like, oh, looked like a painting. It was so awesome. So go get all those fruits and veggies, broccoli, orange vegetables, which kind of means like peppers, right? Peppers, things like that. So these are all amazing antioxidant foods. And then we go back to those leafy greens. I don't know about you guys, raise your hand if the thought of eating 3 to 5 servings of vegetables and leafy greens a day is like super overwhelming. I can't do it. I've tried so hard and I got so sick of salads within like 24 hours that I cheat. So I do the essential greens. It has 2 servings of fruit and vegetables in each little scoop. And I like the taste of it. It's a cheat code. So I'm still doing all of my other veggies and all of my other leafy greens. I just also do this so I don't feel like a rabbit by the end of the day. So these are just some simple things that you can be doing to start to reduce the inflammatory process. Now, we also, along with food, we have something called supplements. So here's the disclaimer. Supplements are there to supplement a healthy lifestyle. Don't think any protocol that I'm about to give you right now is going to make up for you eating Burger King after this, or In-N-Out, or Whataburger, or Shake Shack. Like, I don't come out this way often, so I'm driving down the road, I'm just like, oh my God, obesity central, InterQuest obesity. It's like, boom. But you can't out-supplement a bad nutrition or lifestyle, okay? And so, with this, we have put together some very strategic protocols. I have been working on these for a very long time, and I can say firsthand that they work. Katty and her husband can say the same thing. Some of you are on some of these. There are 3 different protocols that I want to go over. With these, we carry all of this. We just order it for you, so you can either order it tonight, you get 10% off. If it's later in the year, you can order it through us. But the first 2 that I would say are your foundation, the things that are going to be most beneficial for inflammation and joint health. Number 1 is the good omega-3 fish oil. I was thinking about it 2 days ago. If somebody were to ask me what is my go-to supplement, the one supplement that I don't think I'd do without, at first I didn't have an answer. I know now it's omega-3s, hands down. And that just happened 2 days ago because I actually ran out of my omega-3s, which I've taken for years. And I go into my office every single day and I forgot to replenish it every single day for 3 weeks. Like, I'm a normal patient just like you guys. I just forget. And then I finally got one, and it was the day before I left for 4th of July break for that week, and I opened it up all jazzed because I could start to feel my joints hurting. For me, when I'm inflamed, it's my wrists and my elbows. Sometimes my shoulders, but it makes sense. I'm using this stuff the most, right? For some of you, it's your knees. For some of you, it's your spine. But I could feel it setting in, and then I opened it up, and one of those little buggers got a crack in it, and it just spewed fish oil all over the place. And I was like, should I do it? And I'm like, I did that once and I threw up everywhere, so no, I'm not gonna do it. But then I thought it'd be genius to just try to soak them in hot water and just see what happened. It didn't work either. So if you get a bad batch, just give it back to us and we'll get you a new one. But then I went another week, so I ended up going 5 weeks without my fish oil. After I finally got it, I doubled up on it. So anytime I'm feeling inflamed, because I can feel it in my joints, or I feel brain fog, I definitely, brain fog for me is an inflammatory response, hands down. I know it every time. So anytime I'm feeling those things, I'll usually double up on my omega-3 fish oils. But once I got back onto that, within 3 days, like my elbows were fine. It was crazy. I'm like, okay, my body digs omega-3 fish oil. But I put it with the whole body collagen, because collagen is the most abundant protein in your body, and it starts breaking down after 20 or 25 years of age, which is all of us. And so it starts to decrease. I think it's like 1% each year or something like that. Do you have a question?
How does that compare to vitamin D3,
Which one?
what you're talking about, fish oil?
Omega-3 and D3 are completely different. Omega-3 is a fish oil that's good for cardiovascular, well, okay, so cardiovascular, skin, joints, eyes, things like that. Also brain, gut lining. Whereas D3, that's the sun vitamin, right? So you're getting this from fish. D3 you're getting from the sun. D3 is going to be a good immune booster. D3 is good for bone density, I would say. It does have some good impact on cardiovascular, but it's going to be really more for immune response and bone compared to that. Now, D3 is one of those that I'm a big fan of. I will say, because I've told you guys before, I'm not a supplement salesman. I'm not here to sell you supplements. I'm here to give you what you need and want. I don't take D3 in the summer. I have not taken D3 in the summer for years. And so if you're outside enough, you don't need to take it, because you can only absorb so much before your body stops producing vitamin D3 within your body and utilizing it. So food for thought on that one, if you're outside enough. If you're not, you probably should take it, because most people are deficient in it. Whole body collagen is for the joints. It is a great joint supplement. It's just that foundational. And you're gonna get 10 grams of protein with that, and I'm a big fan of protein. That is the foundation. That is just, if you wanna just really focus on, let's just keep inflammation at bay. I don't really have any issues, but this is the standard, there you go. If you're like me and you're really hard on your body, then you wanna up the ante a little bit. I hike a lot, I bike a lot, I'm adjusting a lot of people. I also take ArthroSoothe Supreme, which again is an anti-inflammatory joint protocol, or a joint formulation, I should say. It's got glucosamine, it's got MSM, and it's got some other anti-inflammatory products within it. The reason that we figured all of this out, by the way, was because after my wife had to have a surgery, our job was to figure out, what do we do so this doesn't come back to haunt her? How can we build up the joint and the disc so that this does not come back to like put her down? Because we're very, very active. And that's when I found how important glucosamine is. You don't really need chondroitin sulfate. It's too big. Your cells don't absorb it, which was like, kaboom. I did not know this. And so this is where this all came from. So she had been taking it for about 6 months. We started our training for Kilimanjaro, and I'm like, holy crap. I like going up, but I do not like coming down. I need a helicopter, because my knees were killing me. So that's when I started taking this, and it really did help with my overall joint health. And so that's the Weekend Warriors, yes.
What, now, could you repeat that again? You said glucosamine is what you need, but the chondroitin you can't absorb?
Correct.
So if you're taking a combo chondroitin,
You're not getting, the chondroitin doesn't get in there. It's too big. And I learned this during the COVID era, when I was trying to figure out how do we reduce inflammation and the cytokine response when people were getting COVID. And that was the big one that I found out, is about 1,500 milligrams of glucosamine is kind of that sweet spot as well. And so that's what this has, 1.5 grams. Now, if you're a person that you do have a lot of inflammatory responses, you do have a lot of degenerative disc disease, arthritic changes, you see it in your joints, you feel it in your joints, you would probably add in an inflammatone as well. Inflammatone is just a natural anti-inflammatory with turmeric and curcumin. The thing about these two, they're more expensive. They definitely are, and it's because you're essentially getting like 4 different supplements all into one, and that's why the price point is there. I am just very upfront and honest about this because it's not something that everybody needs to be on, but if I'm hitting a chord with you, then I want you to know what you're getting. And so inflammatone is a great natural anti-inflammatory. Now, is it gonna work like an NSAID, like a aspirin, where you take it and you feel better right away? No, it's not a pain reliever. It's a natural anti-inflammatory, which takes time to build up, and that's the biggest thing. So these protocols have been working. I know, Katty, you said that your husband started taking the ArthroSooth Supreme, and he's an electrician, and he was having all these hand issues, and that pretty much cleared up because of the joint complex in there. Is anybody else taking any of these? Yeah? What do you take, Alexis? Yeah. Yeah, and she's a massage therapist, so she is constantly working with her body on your body, and it's a good way to just reduce inflammation as much as possible. Does anybody have any questions on this? Perfect. If you do, you can holler at us, but all supplements tonight are 10% off, and they're 10% off every time you come to a workshop as well, so you can tackle that. If you need to really get after it even more, in Mediterranean, you can do grains, whole grains. Carbs aren't the ultimate enemy. A lot of people don't do well with no carbs. There are people that don't do well on keto. I do not do well on keto. I just couldn't do it. I didn't have the energy, and so I do a combination, like a hybrid, and I still do carbs, but they're whole carbs or whole grains. With this Max Living, the advanced plan, that is cutting out all grains, all sugars. If you have really been dealing with a lot of chronic disease, a lot of chronic inflammation, a lot of joint issues, you might want to tackle this for like 30 to 60 days. Some people stay on it forever. It's hard though. It's really hard to go no carbs forever. And so this is another one that you can tackle. So that is my favorite stuff as far as anti-inflammatory goes. And now Katty's gonna come back up and wrap it up for you guys.
All right, so if you want more info on this, you guys have my email. You can email me, or when you're in the office next, let me know and I can get you this info. Okay, so let's talk solutions a little bit. So detox strategies. First of all, is anyone feeling overwhelmed by some of this information? Yeah? All right, let's take a deep breath, because we don't have to tackle this all at once, okay? We talk about mindset, and part of that is going, this is a process, okay? Our bodies take time to heal. And so as we learn information, we process the information, and then we think through specific strategies that are gonna help us change. But the more you stress out about, oh no, what is that gonna do to your body? It's gonna stress you out, right? Which is counterproductive to our end goal, right? So I'm gonna walk through these, take some notes, but at the end of the day, just start. You're gonna fail, okay? Start knowing that you're gonna fail, and that's okay. And then you get up again, and then you get up again, and you get up again, and you fail well. I love that phrase, because we fail in all kinds of things. But there's a difference between failing and not getting up, and then failing and then getting up again, right? So we're just gonna start, and we're gonna figure it out, and we're gonna process, we're gonna give our bodies time, and we're gonna give our minds time to make the changes, okay? We're gonna be nice to ourselves. So detoxification strategies, super, super simple. Drink water. Start with drinking enough water. You wanna drink half your body weight in ounces every day, okay? Write it down. I like to fill up little quart-sized mason jars, 4 of them on my counter, and just start there, and I can keep track of how much water I'm drinking. There's all kinds of strategies, but just drink enough water. Find some way to track it so you know, especially women, our bodies are a lot of water, okay? And we are always running around and doing this and doing that and doing that and forgetting to drink the water, and at the end of the day, our body's hurting, we have headaches, we just feel gross. So drink your water. The second one is move your body, exercise a little bit. Even if you're just walking a little bit, don't spend the whole day in front of the TV. Don't spend the whole day in front of your computer. If you are on a computer, get up, move around a little bit. And then I'll talk about exercise in a little bit, but that is another way to just get your blood moving, get all the fluids going, like just getting your body moving, your muscles moving. It's gonna help move that stuff through your body, okay? And then another real simple is you could start with a detox supplement. Now I'm not gonna preach that tonight, but we do have access to that. So if you guys have questions on that, ask. Next one is exercise. So if you can move your body 30 minutes a day and get your heart rate moving 30 minutes a day, you're off to a great start. Some of you are gonna do way more than that. Some of you are gonna have intense workout plans. Maybe you have a trainer at the gym. Maybe you have a whole plan laid out. You do this, you do that, you have an app, whatever it is. That's awesome. Some of you are already on track with that. If you are not working out at all, just get started. Just go for a walk, hopefully before it's 95 degrees. I mean, it's a little sweat, that'll help detox a little bit, right? But just start moving your body, okay? There are all kinds of different exercise routines and things like that that you can do. We can help you with some of those things as well, but just start moving. Let's see, peace management technique. So this kind of goes along with that mindset stuff. So I'm gonna do a quick exercise with you guys. I want everybody to close your eyes for a second. In your mind, I want you to imagine the most beautiful place in nature that you've ever been or that you would ever want to go. Maybe it's a waterfall, maybe it's the beach, maybe it's a mountaintop. You guys have that picture? Now, I'm gonna stop talking for a second and I want you to just put yourself in that place of peace for a second. Okay, now open your eyes. How many of you felt your body just kind of for a minute? Raise your hands. Like almost all of you, right? You have the ability to control your mind, to control your thoughts. Ultimately, you have charge over your bodies, okay? And so one of the most powerful things to do is find that place of peace, whether it's getting outside. They say being around water, I think it's like 30% will increase rest and peace by like 30% or something. I can't remember the actual statistic. Go outside. If you're not outside very much, go outside, right? It's going to bring you peace. So we just did that little exercise. Remember that. Find that place. A lot of people will, meditate or pray. Find that place with God where you find that rest and that peace in your soul. And stay there for a minute. Let it kind of take your body. I mean, we are together. We are mind, body, soul, and spirit. We're all connected. And so when you find that place, you also get to speak to your physical frame, okay? Family time. What do you do for fun? Have fun, you guys. Our lives are so stressful. The world is so stressful right now. Find fun. What do you do for fun? What do you do to relax and to find pleasure and enjoyment? We were designed for joy and pleasure. That's how we were created. That's what we're for. And if you don't have that kind of fun and pleasure and enjoyment in your life, there's a problem. Your body is actually going to carry that chronic inflammation, that pain, So we got to figure that out, okay? Positive influences, I talked about the negative, what kinds of negative influences, friends, those kinds of things that you have in your life. Find positive ones, okay? If there are things that you got to move out of your life, move it out of your life, okay? I'm not talking about cutting people off, but I'm talking about just be wise, make good choices in your friendships and your relationships and your conversations. Reading can be super restful and relaxing. I mean, we all have our, Jeff is laughing. He's like, no.
No.
Then don't read, okay? You find something else to do. Okay, action steps. So we are a little bit over time, so I don't want to take a ton of time on this, but I want you guys to just write some quick action steps. I said earlier, I'm going to have you guys do this. So what are some things some stressors in your life that we talked about that may have resonated with you, and then our solutions, the diet stuff. What are some things that stuck out to you? Write them down, make a little box around it that you're gonna cut out and stick it on your fridge, and you're gonna actually take action on, okay? So I'll give you like 30 seconds to jot some stuff down real quick. All right. Everybody done jotting? Okay, so in conclusion, events and connecting, doing this together with community is so much more powerful than just doing this by yourself. And so I want to encourage you guys to find some sort of community. There is a wonderful one right here in this room. You all see the same doctors, you're all in the same office. Not all at the same time, but you're all of the same mindset and perspective and wants and desires as far as this is concerned. So before you leave, meet somebody, get their number, shake their hand, make some sort of connection so that when you go on this journey, you can be like, hey, can we do this together? Because I don't have anyone else in my life that's running in the same way. So make some connections. We have a Facebook challenge group that we have. There's a QR code in the office. If you don't see it, ask and we'll show you. We do a challenge, usually after every workshop, where there is that online community if you guys want to be a part of that. Workshops, obviously, YouTube, you can check out, keep watching those workshops, stay up to date, those kinds of things. Dr. Jason already talked about Wednesday, we're turning 20, these are just some fun announcements. And then he also talked about that new patient special. So if you are new, if you have not had an exam, if you haven't come into our office and you want to try that, or like he said, if you have somebody that wants to do that, talk to us in the back and we'll do that. And then 10% off supplements tonight. And for the finale here, we have a whole body collagen giveaway tonight. So all of you have a red ticket. Dr. Will you do the drawing for us? Have your tickets out. Did everybody get a ticket? Is anybody missing one? Or not have one? Okay. All right, who's our winner?
All right, ticket number 779866.
Okay, so that's exciting. Supplements are there in the back. If you want to get scheduled, talk to myself or Dr. Will. And I think we're good to go. Don't forget to turn in that questionnaire. If you want to just cut off the bottom part, just you can hand it to us in the back or that back table too.
I know, that's in August. Because I've been in chiropractic care, and then I've gotten tested. I'm wondering if like $2,000 on I wonder if Thanks. Have a good night.